morning, friends. PC, joined by Brian, Con. Here we are at the Paper Street Copy booth here in Vendor Village. It's day 2. We wouldn't be able to do this without Box Basics. It's the go-to footwear and gear shop for everyday CrossFit athlete. Awesome selection, free and fast shipping within the U.S., and exceptional customer service. Try them out today at shopboxbasics.com, and for a limited time only, get 20% off if you use the code FRIEND at checkout.
Yeah, Box Basics is going to bring you all your affordable footwear for training and lifting that you want. They carry brands like Tier, Nike, Reebok, Innovate, and of course, Strike Movement. Check them out, give them a follow, give them a like, buy some shoes from them. They do everything they can to bring affordable footwear to you guys.
Yeah, so again, we're here, highly caffeinated Con Porter. How you feeling?
Out to kick in. When the caffeine kicks in, I'm going to be up and about. But yeah, feeling good, mate. I'm excited to rip through some of these tests because it's an interesting first couple of days that we've seen so far.
Yeah. As we know, 5 of the 6 tests before the cut, the first set of cuts, they've been announced. We're going to talk about those. Brian, first initial reactions based on those 5 events that we know.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday we knew 3 of those 5 tests that we now know. Last night they announced the inverted medley and the ski bag workouts, and that checks one of the boxes that we were looking for. We wanted to see some high-skill gymnastics. Clearly, this inverted medley is going to have plenty of that. And we were looking for a barbell, which we've yet to see, but maybe event 6.
Yeah, I think something fast with a barbell. Something fast with a barbell in the Coliseum. That ski bag, I think on paper looks like a sprint workout. I think it's going to be a little slower than it initially presents with those squats. But something like a fast barbell sprint at the end, like a heavy-ish grace or something along those lines. I think that could be something that we see to finish off in the Coliseum. Friday Night Lights, yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
So one of the events that was announced, what we're kicking off is what's called the Ride. It's a little throwback to 2017, right?
There's definitely elements of the cyclocross that are out there. We got to go out and watch many of the athletes do kind of their trial lap yesterday. It was a cool thing that CrossFit does, give them a chance on the course. And so, like other racing sports or whatever, you get to ride the course and kind of look for what you want. So some athletes chose to kind of attack it quickly. Others sat back and evaluate the course. But there is that kind of technical section where you have to get off your bike and run, and I think that can be a tricky point for some of the athletes.
I think that's going to be a real opportunity for people to attack early on. I think you're going to get people sitting at a reasonably kind of comfortable pace on the bike. You're going to get the good bikers are going to separate themselves. It's just the way it's going to be. There'll be 8 to 12 of those, I'd say, that will kind of pull ahead using the bike. But for everyone else, I think that's going to be a real opportunity. It's about 200 meters or so that they're running with that bike. It's a decent amount of time to be off and to be going. And I think as well, the laps are quite long. So you're going to there's not going to be a lot of spread, I don't think, early, except for the really good bikers. And then, maybe a couple of people at the back that are not great at all. But yeah, I think that pace is such an important part of those laps, that pace where you're off the bike. And I think you're going to see a lot of moves made on that point.
Yeah. Speaking of some of the best bikers, who are you guys looking at? Who's going to separate themselves from that pack?
Yeah, I think that you can, now that we've had events like cyclocross and crit and we have some veteran athletes in the field, there's names like Yonikoski, BKG, Annie Thorzard on the women's side, Matilda Garbs is good on a bike. It seems to be a lot of Europeans.
Yeah, Katrin's great on the bike as well. I remember that from sort of playing around on the bikes last year as we were coming here. But I think you're going to get, people that have had that biking experience, but not just kind of road biking, mountain biking with the kind of, with the type of bike that they're using. I think that really bodes well. And it is a lot of the European athletes, they spend a lot of time on the bikes there. It is a good pastime that they kind of just go out and do. So yeah, I think look to see a very sort of European top end of the leaderboard. I'm sure Ricky Garrard's back in Oz at the moment, licking his chops, wishing that he was out here. Yeah, I mean, that would have been cool to see him on there. But I think, Koski, BK, those kind of guys are going to be sort of sure bets. But that's the other thing, there's always going to be 1 or 2 people that we have no clue that just go out and bang hills on their mountain bikes every weekend that are going to turn up and just rip through. And then I think, honestly, it's going to come down to you're just going to have that, the engines are going to come through. People that are comfortable enough on the bike, but they've got that big engine, they've got that decent output, they're going to be the people that rise to the top.
Yeah, I think if we're looking for maybe a lesser known athlete or someone we don't have that much data on the men's side, both Yellow Host and James Sprague just kind of pop out and they're good at this monostructural stuff. They have those engines you're talking about. Can they handle the bike and that technical course to stay with the leaders? We'll see. Yeah. But I think they'll be relevant in this event.
I mean, Yellow being European as well, I dare say he's probably had a bit of time on the bike, the big fella. He's someone I'm extremely excited to watch this weekend. He's someone that I'm very, very keen to see how he goes across the test.
He sounds like one of your dark horses. A name I want to throw out there in terms of the dark horses is Spencer Panchik. I know last year he got caught up in that controversy if he did enough laps. He still swears to me that he did 5 laps, but I'm not going to argue with him. But I talked to him yesterday. He says he's been biking a lot, and he feels really good about that.
Yeah, I think Spencer Panchik is a good example of an athlete who might have a great day one in general.
Mm-hmm.
He did well on the bike workout, the gymnastics, wall balls. As long as he can move the pig, that'll be a good workout for him too. And he's one of the best in the field on his hands.
Yeah. That handstand one is going to be unreal to watch for the boys. Can you say Samuel Cormier on that one, actually? He's going to be one to watch on that one.
Before we talk about that inverted, let's talk about that pig chipper real
Get excited here, Pete.
Yeah, I know, that's fine. I don't know if it's...
See people doing spins on their hands, bro. Come on.
Yeah. But let's talk about the pig chipper real quick. That was one of those ones that one of the workouts or tests that was announced last week. Where's that one at? I mean, it's a chipper. A lot of people are saying it's in the gymnastics. Some say it's that first set of the pig flips. What do you think?
Someone said it's the first set of pig flips. Who said that? I would have a stern word to them about breaking down workouts. It's definitely not the first set of pig flips, so I'm going to put that one out there. I think this is just a classic chipper. First half of that workout is bait. The second half of that workout is where the money's made. That wall, that's sort of the deep, when you get deep into those wall balls, you've got to think about you're holding your arms up here as well. It's going to fatigue the shoulders. It's going to fatigue the kind of the forearms and everything like that as well. You get to that back end of that and you're coming back through, you're going to look for people to break early and often on that first set of toes to bar and then going through those chest to bars as well. Also look for people to not do that and then fall apart on the back end as well. Obviously, those guys that are just absolute gymnastics beasts, like your Colton Mertens, Yona as well, Yona's going to have a great first day. Guys like that are brilliant at the sort of chest to bars and the toe to bar type stuff, they can probably still go big on the first round and hold that on the way back. But how's that going to affect that pig flip? That pig, yes, it's very posterior, but you use a lot of bicep when you flip that pig. It's just inevitable, particularly as your form starts to deteriorate, that you're going to load through there. And if you've just blown your biceps up on those pull-ups, forearms and grips gone from the toes to bar, yeah, it can come back and bite you in the ass on the way back through.
I think if all the tests we've seen so far, the pig chipper is the most complete test on its own. And basically, like Khan said, not just the ability to navigate that workout, but you have to be a little bit good at everything. I think that fitness will kind of prevail there. I'm expecting guys like Medeiros and Vellner to maybe not start out in the lead, but to,
Pat's damn good on the pig though as well. I think that's a really good test for him too.
Yeah, I think those guys might take control somewhere in that like 2/3 of the way in and kind of put the pedal down at the end. And similarly on the women's side, I would be looking for some of the veteran athletes.
Yep.
Like Annie,
Laura, Gabby, Katrin, all these women that have done it before. Not again, they might be in the mix after the first pig, but if you can move the pig well, you don't have to move it fast. It's kind of like an echo bike or something. You can just get done with that and be feeling better than the people next to you and take advantage of that huge middle section.
Yeah, I think Laura's looks amazing. That test is going to be really, really good for her. She's so strong with the sort of chest to bar, the toes to bar. She's going to destroy the wall balls and the pig. I think even the bike as well is going to be good for her. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a good first day for her. I think great first day for Annie as well. She's good on the pig too. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a good day for the Europeans on the women's side.
from like an honorary European.
Yeah. Just, please let me stay in Europe, guys. I'm giving you all the shout outs. Let's go.
So we end day one with the inverted medley. Some of that was announced yesterday. Wow, it's a lot of stuff there. Let's briefly talk about it. 30-foot unbroken handstand walk over the ramp, 8 freestanding handstand push-ups, unbroken obstacle steps to a 180 degree pirouette, 16 pullovers, and then you just go back. So that's going to be in the Coliseum under the lights. You're going to have a lot. It's going to look like a circus act or a Circus Soleil out there.
Well, yes. And I think that, that's a conversation that people want to have. Is it too circusy? And these are conversations that have come up in the past.
Which we know that's Boz's background.
He does have a background in that, but I also know that he has a testing team around him, and he wants them to keep him in check on that. He wants to have a test that's challenging, that rewards having mastery of the body through space, which is what gymnastics or the being in the circus is all about. But that is also a good show and representation of how capable these athletes are. I think that the testing they've done in this has gone through many iterations and phases, and they've landed on something that through the testing process, they know that elite level gymnasts like Victor Hoffer, who I hope we get to see. I hope
we get to see him do it.
I think they'll probably play that video at some point. But even people, like Griffin Raleigh or Ashley Wozniak on these teams that may not be people you perceive as great gymnasts in the way that Victor is, can still do this test.
Sure.
And I think that we'll see that from the field of competitive athletes this year too. We'll see some people excel in this and do world-class things, and we'll see others find a way to figure it out, even if they haven't necessarily done some of this before.
Yeah, I think to read, it looks like a big jumble of just lots, like to read and look at. When you kind of break down each of the different components, it's nothing too dissimilar to what people have done. At this point in time, we know that freestanding handstand push-ups have come up at the games before. So it's something that people, if you're considering yourself to be a games athlete or someone that's going to go to the games, you're practicing that in case it shows up again. We've all done the obstacle so many times that this is just a skill that now, if you want to go to the CrossFit Games, you can't climb over an obstacle on your hands. I mean, it's kind of a do as I say, not as I do. If you're not comfortable going up and over the ramp, you need to practice it more. But yeah, these are things that we do see regularly. The pullovers, cool. We haven't done them in a competition before. I'd be curious to see what the standard is. But it's also a skill that when we're looking at Boz's style of programming and people are thinking about what's he potentially going to throw, it's something that I know a lot of athletes have been practicing. You've seen a few videos of people kicking about. I think he did a good job of really stamping his little kind of skill bias on the programming and having people practicing these skills. What has come up on main site before? What could we potentially see based on that? And hey, have you been doing your homework and practicing these different skills? I think that from the little video that they put up, that stairs one where they kick up to the high box and pirouette straight away there, that's pretty wild.
And that'll be a moment where there'll be someone that's struggling.
Yeah.
There'll be someone that's not sure if they can do it. Yeah. And then they'll figure it out and the Coliseum will erupt. Absolutely. And those are the ones that that's the leaders and the winners will already be done. And someone will do something like that night. Yeah. That will get the crowd going.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Everyone will be kind of standing around the staircase. Yeah, that'd be fun.
You brought up Victor Hoffer doing, obviously, we saw on Dave Castro's Instagram that he wowed everyone. A couple of years ago when you're on the demo team, they had Tola and Christine Colobrander come out and do the snatch workout befut they went into the snatch workout. That, giving the demo team kind of like a warm up the crowd. I thought that was amazing. Maybe this year they bring out Victor and have him do a run through.
Oh, that was so.
I think it would be great. I think that'd be added incentive to be on the demo team. Especially it gives someone like Victor Hoffer, up and coming European, just an ability to show off his skills in front of a crowd.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and I dare say he'd be able to get through it quick enough that it's not going to take too much time away from everyone else. What is the time cap on that one?
I do not see a time cap. They don't have one listed yet. It just says 4 time.
Okay, gotcha.
So I think it'll probably like 2 minutes.
No, I think more than that.
Sorry.
You
were the one who said it was about the first pig flip, weren't you? I'm just going to let that go.
Not going to say.
I want to say that's probably like a 6 or 7 minute time cap. The best times is the pullovers will be an interesting element of that. Yeah. Keep in mind all the bicep work from earlier in the day with the pig. Even the gripping the bike for 40 minutes is a lot of the forearms and the grip. So maybe not unbroken for most people on those 16 pullovers, but that does take a little bit of time. So I think maybe 3 minutes could be like the best possible time on something like this with a 6 to 7 cap, maybe.
What do you think the standard's going to be? I think that's going to be interesting for the pullovers. Are they going to have to come to full extension at the bottom, or is it going to be that they can just round in circles?
I don't know about the round in circles. That's a great.
So I remember chatting about this last night, going, how do it? Is it just the body's full rotation around, having to come down at the bottom, because that's a lot more time under tension? Also, they're going to be dizzy on this. There's a lot going on here. You're spinning around that bar, spinning around on your hands.
But that's actually a great example of that classic Glassman quote of differ by degree, not kind. You just see new people in the gym come, and even just doing burpees and thrusters with this a change of elevation can cause this sensation of dizziness, or kicking up into a handstand for the first time as an adult in your life. And even at the games now, we see these high demand skills that will also disorient the world-class athletes a little.
Absolutely, yeah. Particularly if this is your first CrossFit Games, you're under lights in that Coliseum, it's a whole different experience. You've just done 2 tests in the middle of the day out there in the sun. You're feeling a little bit sapped, maybe a little overwhelmed from a massive first day of competition. All the nerves and stuff are a bit all over the place. You're down there and you're going to do something this high skill this early in the competition. I think that's not something that we've seen before, something this high skill super early on. It's going to be a potentially very disorienting experience for some of the newer athletes, for sure.
So which athletes you're going to have your eye on this one? Good or bad?
I think I'm going to stick with the good. Yeah. The bad, I mean, we'll see. I mean, look, it is a test where it's possible there's a couple athletes that can't complete the test. I think that CrossFit kind of has a mentality of we just want to see you try, and so we'll get some of those moments. But on the excellent side of this, I think if you're talking about women, you can expect something spectacular from Danielle Brandon, Katrin David's daughter. But there are a lot of women that are pretty good on their hands. Elisa Fuliano, maybe a lesser-known athlete that could do very, very well on this test. And then for the men, I'm really looking at Spencer Panchik, Justin Medeiros, and I think that one of those two guys is a likely win here.
Yeah. Sam Cormier, he's pretty good on this.
Sam also as well should be in that mix for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's day one. What a day one. Wow, that sounds like a whole weekend right there.
Was a very well-balanced day one, I think.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got pure endurance, pure skill, and that one in the middle is very CrossFit. So I think it's a pretty solid day one.
Yeah. And then we're looking for some weightlifting tests, which Friday seems to have.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's obviously the Alpaca workout coming back.
Yeah.
I think most people are excited for that because it was an anticipated workout that we didn't get to see in its full development. It'll take a different shape this year than it would have last year because everyone's had a chance to practice those legless rope climbs and as difficult a standard as they want. I still think that the kettlebells will be the deciding factor for this field.
Oh, do you think so? Do we know if the standard's up and down like regionals as well?
We definitely don't have all the details on it.
Yeah, I think that standard of coming down the rope. So my understanding is it goes from seated as well for a legless, but that coming down the rope. If you look at regionals, it's 15. They say it's 15 foot. That rope at regionals always sits a little lower than 15 foot. So it's not necessarily. And they had that tape line. If that's the ropes that are out on the.
I think it's a couple feet higher than the regional because they have the Zeus rig is 20 feet ground to ceiling, and from the top of the crash pads, I think it's 16 feet. So even with that little bit of distance, you're still looking at least 2-3 feet more.
Yeah. So I think the kettlebells, it's less reps on the kettlebells than last year, which makes sense because they've got the legless rope climbs in there. I think it's very well balanced between the two. If they have to climb down that rope, I think it changes that and makes it way more rope focused. I would like to see them having to just climb up and be able to come back down. I think that keeps it more balanced. And then I think it's very much a kettlebell test. Those kettlebell double clean and jerks, they're hard. Like they're really challenging. We played around with a variation of this when I was in Iceland way earlier in the year, and like managing that and then going up the rope, it's again just so bicep.
Yeah, you think about the totality of the grip and demand on the pulling strength and that bicep that's happening now over all of these first events.
Yeah.
These athletes all had to do some version of that legless seated at semifinals, and I think that's why maybe less so than last year the rope climbs will have an impact. And Adrian Bosman already thought that the kettlebells would be the carrying thing last season. I think that with a year of practice, so we'll see. But I mean, these athletes, man, they always bring it. And we will have a cool study because a bunch of this field did the Alpaca test last year. We can see if there's a correlation or if it does actually change something for a few of them.
Yeah, that will be actually a really interesting one because obviously there is that component, but like the fitness component and that pure just grunt work component. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see this test. I think this is a really cool workout, to be honest.
What do you think Laura and a Roman who won these events last year, what do you think now with the original as it was written, where do they finish this year?
Neither of them are bad on the rope. Like, I remember watching Roman when we did the last chance qualifier in 2021 and that last workout, him just decimating everyone's time by over a minute with legless rope climbs in there. So I can't imagine he's going to be bad on this, and Laura's brilliant at it as well. So I dare say they're still probably red hot favorites to do well in this one.
Any other athletes to keep an eye on?
I mean, we were talking with Seher Kaya yesterday, and I like to kind of give some love to the athletes that maybe aren't, top 10 or podium candidates overall. She was 11th on Alpaca last year, is one of her better workouts, and she's pretty good on the rope. So as maybe early good time to beat, I could see Seher doing something cool.
Yeah. Con, anyone you want to add?
Yeah, little young Bailey Martin, shout out to my Oceania crew. He won the test with the legless rope climbs at back in Oz. I think he's very strong guy as well. Like should be able to move those kettlebells okay. So I think if those rope climbs do play a factor, I'd like to see him put up a good score on that one too.
That'd be awesome because Bailey's who knows how the whole games is going to go for him, but he's a very, very talented young guy that hasn't had his chance, and now he's here, and so I hope he gets to show something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, he should be the skills test on day one, and even the pig flip into the gymnastics they're good opportunities for him to score. So yeah, I'd like to see him kind of on this one as well, maybe have a red hot crack if those rope climbs play a factor.
Yeah, shout out to the Kiwi for the Aussie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We won't talk about the rugby.
So the last known test we know is plain and simple, pretty easy. It's called ski bag. It's 30 calorie ski, 30 sandbag squats, 20 calorie skis, 20 sandbag squats. That's it, 4 times.
And I think that's a 200, 150 bag. That is going to be, again, what's the standard going to be? There could be some nuance with what they do or don't allow in terms of where you can position the sandbag. But either way, you need to have massive core stability, big, strong legs, and be able to, you have to grip that thing.
Holding it here, and you're skiing. So you're going to ski, you're going to like blow out your arm. You're going to hold that bag here while you're doing those squats. It's, again, crazily bicep intensive workout. Yes, there's the squats. Yes, your heart rate is going to be through the roof, but it's, again, very bicep work.
And you couple with the ski where you're pulling once again. So it's, it looks like, to paper, it looks like a strongman workout because you want to be able to move this bag, but you have to be able to breathe under tension at a high heart rate too if you want to win this thing.
Yeah, I mean, and like skiing, it's a beautiful test. I love this test so much. The ski is such a horrible piece of equipment in terms of being able to go steady and breathe. Like, you are just bending forward. It's really taxing on the hips and the core, and people underestimate that, that impact. Then when you hold a sandbag, oh God, it is one of the worst things in the world to couple with. Holding a sandbag is one of the worst things in the world to couple with a machine, because you are closing off your ability to breathe in that situation. So it's not like a front squat or a back squat where you can come to the top and get a nice full breath. You're under tension and you're pressing through on your lungs, on your diaphragm with that sandbag at the front. So I think, as I said, on paper, I think it presents as a sprint. You might get a couple of guys that get that done, but I think you're going to see a few people breaking sort of 3 times maybe on that first set.
Well, there's a couple of things. If they told you could hold the sandbag any way you wanted, do you think anyone will shoulder it rather than put it in that bear hug?
I mean, I would, I don't know. It's one of those ones where you can just go, you can cycle pretty quickly holding in the bear hug. I think getting it positioned on your shoulder in a way that you feel like you're able to kind of cycle those squats fast is going to be a little bit more fiddly, particularly if it's the tombstone bags that they have. I think that's going to be really awkward on the shoulder. But I don't know, like if there's some big boys out there, they might be able to just kind of perch it up there. Yeah, I'm excited to see some of those big guys, like, Brent Fikowski's obviously going to be like great on this as well. I think someone like, what's his name?
I was thinking Sharonki.
Sharonki, yeah, that's exactly who I was
There's a lot of big boys in this field. You have Jason Hopper, you have Yella Jose, you have Bronislaw, you have Jake Douglas, like these big, strong guys that have
Arthur Semenoff.
Arthur Semenoff's a great shot there. So, I mean, I think this is a test where you could see a surprise name put up a score that's pretty impressive, especially if they can hold on to the sandbag.
Yeah, I like Sharonki on this one. That dude is a giant. Like, I think he's going to hold that bag. Like, I think Jason Hopper's obviously another name that comes to mind, but someone that is lesser known, I think David Sharonki's a real red hot crack on this one.
He put a little post up in the evening after it was announced, just saying, like, I'm salivating over these announcements. So he's getting excited for something.
So that's, like I said, the last known one. 5 workouts, you have to see a barbell. Are we expected to see maybe a barbell in that final one under the lights in the Coliseum?
Just in general, the weightlifting seems to be lacking a little relative to the gymnastics and the monostructural elements that we've already had kind of leading the charge here. Obviously, a strict monostructural test. Gymnastics plays a big role in test 2. It is everything in test 3. It's part of Alpaca. And then, the ski sandbag. We do have weightlifting elements.
Yeah.
But I feel like, yes, a barbell would round out those 2 days really well if you're going to use that as a standalone to remove 25% of the field.
Yeah, I think if we do see a barbell, something cycling through there. But I also, like, when they program you, it's quite often you see almost like, sometimes it's like they're making a statement with the programming that they do. And I wouldn't be surprised to also not see a barbell, purely and simply because it's one of those things where, hey, we've got 6 tests. We have load here. Like that, the pig is a heavy implement. that bag is a heavy implement. If you can imagine even just back squatting those loads for that many reps fast and under fatigue, like that's going to get heavy. The kettlebells, that's a heavy implement. You've got 3 tests that have heavy loaded implements in there just because they're not a barbell. I don't necessarily think we miss out on allowing people to express their strength. And I know that that's something that, you know, we could see 6 tests. It'll be a talking point if they don't have a barbell in that last one. And, you know, sometimes they do like to do that and make those statements with their programming. And
it goes all the way back to 2017 regionals. That was the qualifying stage for the competition, and you didn't see a barbell once the whole weekend. So if they don't see one, I don't think it's something to be up in arms about, because like you said, there still is the opportunity for strong athletes to make a statement with some of those, the tests and the way they're designed. But if I was just speculating, I would say that would be a nice element to have to kind of round the programming out.
so what would you program?
I don't think, because we have the heavy lifts the next day, you might want to see either something, if you want to have, the thing is that they've been advertising this Venn diagram of monostructural weightlifting gymnastics. We have the bike test, we have the skills test. So could we get something like heavy deadlift, light snatch, 2 barbells, you know, maybe a little combo movement.
That's cool. One, that's a cool idea. That's a really cool idea. 2 barbells would be, we've seen that before.
Multiple barbells. Yeah. I mean, even the back 9 last year had the front squats on the floor and the deadlifts, but that was heavy. Maybe you have a heavy light would be kind of a cool dichotomy there at the end of the day. But, you know, I think that it's also the workout right before the cuts. So there wants to be some kind of a dramatic event as well. So maybe it's not an isolated weightlifting test, but you could have some fun there.
It'd be interesting to see the time domain as well, because that 30-30, 20-20, that's going to be reasonably short. But it's not a sprint, I don't think. Oh, it's going to be close-ish too, though. So
some guys be sprinting, some guys will.
Yeah, some guys will be sprinting and wishing they didn't sprint necessarily at the start. But I think that last 20 to go back for that for both the guys and the girls. That last 20 sandbag squats, like you're gonna get people getting to sort of 12, 13 and go like, what have I done? Like, this is challenging.
I wonder, because it is in the Coliseum, they may make them advance on the floor maybe every 10 or every 5. I think so.
That's cool.
So if there is an advancing there, then there's always that try. Do I break because they're giving me a chance to move, or do I just shoulder it and keep going or whatever?
Yeah, and it's a particularly not like I think that like moving with the bag and then going into the squats, like that's a huge call whether you do that or not.
If they did that, I hope that they put like a designated spot you have to stand. Do you remember the overhead squats in 2-2-2-3s? They had the line. So Fraser would just stand right, his toes on the line and take 1 step forward and be over it, which is easy to do. But if you make a square and you're forced to stay in the middle, like you have to be on this yellow circle, and then you have to get to that one that's 10 feet away. Now there's that carry element of it.
Like I think if they go 10-10-10, 5-5-5-5 or something, or even 10-10, you could make quite a decent walk between if you've got the whole Coliseum floor to go down. So that would be, there's a whole other element in that test then.
Sounds like a lot of put in 2 days. It's going to be fun. Any athletes that you initially thought might not make the cut, and because what the tests have been announced, you're like, oh, they're going to make it now?
I mean, as much as we've maybe been critical and evaluative, I think that these 2 days are likely going to be fairly well-rounded tests. Like you have to be good at going long. You have to be very technical. You have to be able to move odd objects that are heavy. I think that there's not too much there that makes me think there's going to be massive jumps. I think that at the margins, for this case, we're talking about 27-33. It's going to come down to execution, and that if you're an athlete taking this test, you have to be cognizant of the fact that from the first workout, when you're out there on the bike course, you're going to get locked into a battle with a couple other guys or girls. And if you can separate and steal 3 points here, steal 6 points here, and you're one of those cut athletes, like that's where you win or lose it. You don't wait till test 6.
Yeah.
Steal the points where you can throughout the weekend. I think execution will probably play a factor on that first cut.
Hugely. I think execution plays such a huge factor in the early tests, because I think we spoke about this yesterday. Everyone wants to get out there, particularly the newer athletes, people that haven't been to the games, rookies or sort of second-time athletes. They're going to get out there and they want to just rip straight away into all of those tests at like 110% effort. And I think that it's a lot of work in those 2 days. You're going to get people that are getting to that sort of second day of competition just absolutely having sent it. There's no rest day this year as well. That's going to play a huge factor, particularly for the first-time athletes and for athletes that have maybe only done 1 games before and had that Wednesday, Thursday rest and then go into the Friday. this is a whole different beast. Going 2 days back to back like that with that level of intensity, yeah, I think it's a beautifully rounded test. I think it's a beautifully rounded test that's also going to play to those veterans or sort of 3-4 times games athletes to come through and shine.
You talk about those athletes and not having a rest day. How valuable is today then? Leading in, I mean, if you're a brand new rookie, what's a veteran, what's a rookie, what are they doing today?
Today sucks for all of them.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than the week leading into competition where you can't train. So you don't have training, which is kind of, you channel that nervous energy into that. The days before a competition, they are some of the most challenging for athletes. I think the people that have done this before, they have their people around them, they have their pre-comp routine locked in. A lot of them are going out, they're going to be moving around today, just freeing up the body, just a little bit of a light flush, maybe a couple of light power cleans, power snatches, just to get that central nervous system firing. But today is a day spent in your head, nervous, playing out every different scenario and all the different workouts. I think those that have a good support network around them are going to really, they're the ones that really shine on those days leading up to it. But you're a rookie, you're about to go into your CrossFit games. That first event's the ride, maybe something that you haven't done a lot of, haven't played around with before. You're just going to be sitting there thinking about bikes, coming off those bikes, going around corners on those bikes. Seriously, it's going to be all things bikes, taking gravel corners on those bikes. Yeah, the days leading into competition, particularly for new athletes, you want to be excited, but inevitably that excitement is going to trend towards nerves, and having a good team around you that can help you kind of process those nerves, put those nerves, give you something to kind of channel those nerves into, whether it's just a little bit of light moving around, some sort of easy activities, go to cinema or something like that. Yeah, these days are tough. The days leading into competition or that week before, it's tough because you can't just go and train. Got to be smart.
Brian, what do you got going on today?
Broadcast will be getting ready today. We'll do all our full facts, check everything out, make sure everyone's got what they need to go because the show starts on Thursday. So and all the technical stuff's in place. Now we just got to make sure it works.
Con, what do you got going? Where are we going to find Con today?
Yeah, good question. I'll be once again at the LSKD booth and just floating around. I think today I'm going to go train and just sort of chill out today before everything kind of kicks off. I'll come and watch the Masters again. It was a lot of fun watching the 35 to 39s. My God, it was cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. And, getting older myself, so checking out what the kind of events are looking like. That's it. So, yeah, now come in and have a little sticky bake at that and just floating, bro.
Yeah, if you are in Madison or you're thinking about coming, come up to Madison, check out the adaptives, the age group divisions. Today's opening day ceremonies at 1:30, so we get to see all the athletes come out. It's actually a pretty cool thing. I love that idea. They bring them out in North Park, they send them around, they get to carry their country's flags. It's just a really cool thing. I was talking to Ariel Owen about that last night. I'm like, who's gonna carry for the U.S.? She's like, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm like, I think the U.S. fittest mom should. She's like, I think that's a great idea. So hopefully she does that. I'd like to see her have that honor. I don't know who's going to do it for the Aussies. It'll probably be just whoever could beat Royce in a.
I hope it's Swanee. I hope it's Brandon Swan.
That would be.
That would be like, that would be really, really cool. He's been doing this for a very long time. He'd be one of the old, not oldest in terms of age, but someone that's competed for the longest period of time. Yeah, I think his first year was 2011.
Yeah. So
42 countries represented at the CrossFit Games this year. So we get to see countries that'll have one, countries that'll have several, and all of them out there proud.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to wrap us up today. Thanks for joining us. If you're coming through, make sure you swing by the Paper Street Coffee booth, get you some coffee. They got some great deals going on. I believe, you could buy a cup of coffee and get refills throughout the whole day. Our merch is here. So the B.Friendly drop of the Madison drop for B.Friendly, it will be here, will be on sale. It'll be at the Paper Street Coffee booth. We got the famous tie-dye. We have some other colorways. Just come on by. If you see us around, especially Con, if you can find them, make sure you get a selfie.
Dressed like Grimace over here.
Yeah. Hey, look at this.
Purple on purple, and I thought it was too much. I was like, I'm not going purple on purple today.
Brian didn't get the memo on that. But close out. Anything you want to say?
Just thanks to Box Basics. If you guys are looking for great footwear in this space, check them out. We got a great deal this week with them. Use the code FRIEND, get a discount on an already great product and price.
20%.
Yep.
And free shipping in the U.S. Con, you got anything you want to close off with?
No. No, I'm good.
As always, be friendly, our friends.
Wait up.